Your car doesn't feel broken, but it doesn't feel right either. It hesitates. It drinks more fuel than it used to. Sometimes it shakes. Sometimes it stalls. Sometimes the check engine light comes on just long enough to scare you, and then disappears like nothing happened. You plug in a scanner and suddenly you're staring at strange codes, confusing descriptions, and repair estimates that feel completely disconnected from what the car is actually doing. But what if the problem isn't the engine at all? What if your car is perfectly healthy, and the real issue is something far smaller, quieter, and almost invisible? Today, you're about to see how a handful of dirty sensors, nothing more than dust, oil vapor, carbon residue, and neglected connectors, can completely change how your car behaves. Not because they're broken, but because they're lying. Feeding the engine computer bad information. Making the system overreact, overfuel, underperform, and slowly drain your wallet. In this video, I'm going to walk you step by step through how to bring your car back to life by cleaning the sensors that actually control everything. No dealership tools. No mechanic experience. No guesswork. Just understanding what matters, what doesn't, and how professional workshops quietly fix problems without replacing half the engine. Some of these fixes are so simple, you'll be angry you ever paid for them. And the final one, the one involving wiring and connectors, is the secret most shops never explain, because if you learn it, you'll avoid more than one unnecessary repair visit. Stay with me until the end, because there's one invisible sensor that, when cleaned properly, can completely transform how your car drives. Imagine your engine trying to breathe through a clogged mask. That's what happens when the mass airflow sensor gets dirty. This sensor is the engine's electronic nose. It measures exactly how much air is entering so the computer can decide how much fuel to inject. When that sensor gets coated with dust, oil residue from aftermarket air filters, or fine debris from the intake system, the entire fuel map starts to drift. The engine begins to guess. Idle becomes unstable. Acceleration feels lazy. Fuel consumption creeps upward. And worst of all, the problem feels random. The fix starts with patience. The engine must be completely off and cold. Spraying anything on a warm sensor is a guaranteed way to destroy it. Disconnect the connector carefully. Remove the screws and lift the sensor out by its housing, never by the delicate internal elements. Now comes the critical part. Only use a cleaner designed specifically for mass airflow or sensitive electronics. Nothing abrasive. No carb cleaner. No brake cleaner. No brushes. No compressed air. Just short, controlled sprays aimed at the internal sensing elements from a safe distance. Let gravity and chemistry do the work. Then walk away. 10 to 15 minutes of air drying. No towels. No blowing. No shortcuts. Reinstall it, reconnect everything, and start the engine. In many cases, the change is immediate. Smoother idle. Sharper throttle response. Lower fuel consumption. And error codes that mysteriously vanish without replacing a single part. Now shift your focus from airflow to pressure. While the airflow sensor measures how much air is coming in, the manifold pressure sensor measures how hard the engine is working. It's the engine's barometer. It tells the computer whether the engine is under load or cruising easily. When oil vapor, carbon residue from the EGR system, or sludge coats the sensor, its readings become inaccurate. The computer reacts by enriching or leaning the mixture incorrectly. Power drops. Exhaust smells strange. Smoke appears. The engine feels weak. This sensor is often easier to access. It's usually mounted directly on the intake manifold or connected via a small vacuum port. With the engine cold, unplug the connector, remove the mounting screw, and pull it straight out. No twisting, no forcing. Look at the tip. You'll often see oily residue or carbon buildup blocking the sensing port. Use electronics cleaner or sensor cleaner and allow the liquid to dissolve the contamination naturally. If residue is stubborn, a very soft brush or lightly dampened cotton swab can be used, but never push anything into the sensing hole. Let it dry completely before reinstalling. A clean pressure signal allows the engine computer to stop guessing and start responding accurately again. Now let's move to the exhaust side, the place where the engine reports the truth about combustion. The oxygen sensor constantly monitors whether the engine is running rich or lean and adjusts fueling in real time. When this sensor becomes contaminated with soot, oil residue, or fuel additives, its response slows or becomes inaccurate. The result is excessive fuel consumption, strong exhaust odor, rough running, and persistent warning lights. This sensor demands respect. It operates at extreme temperatures and is easily damaged. Cleaning should only be attempted when contamination is light and the exhaust is completely cold. Disconnect the wiring carefully. Use the correct sensor socket to avoid damaging the wiring. Inspect the tip. Heavy, hardened deposits usually mean replacement is the correct option. Light contamination can sometimes be removed with a sensor-safe cleaner. Never scrape. Never sand. Never soak in aggressive chemicals. After cleaning, reinstall with anti-seize compound on the threads only, never on the tip, and torque properly. When oxygen sensors report quickly and accurately again, the engine regains precise fuel control, emissions drop, and many mystery drivability issues disappear. Now let's talk about the translator between your foot and the engine. The throttle position sensor tells the computer exactly how much throttle you're applying. When it becomes contaminated with oil vapor or carbon from the throttle body, the signal becomes erratic. The engine hesitates, surges, or refuses to idle properly. In older vehicles, this sensor is removable. In modern electronic throttle bodies, it's sealed and integrated. If removable, disconnect the battery, unplug the connector, and remove the sensor carefully. Clean only the exterior and connector area with electronics cleaner. Never open the housing. Never scrape internal tracks. At the same time, clean the throttle body itself with the correct cleaner. A dirty throttle plate can cause false readings even if the sensor is perfect. Reinstall, reconnect, and allow the vehicle to relearn idle position by turning the ignition on briefly without starting, then starting and allowing idle to stabilize. The result is smoother pedal response and consistent power delivery. Temperature matters more than most drivers realize. The intake air temperature sensor tells the engine whether incoming air is dense and cool or hot and thin. This information directly affects fuel mixture and ignition timing. When this sensor becomes coated with fine dust or oil vapor, it reports false temperatures. The engine feels sluggish when cold and inefficient when hot. This sensor may be integrated with the airflow sensor or mounted separately in the intake tract. With the engine cold, remove it gently and clean it only with electronics cleaner. No touching the sensing element. No compressed air at close range. Allow it to dry completely before reinstalling. Accurate temperature readings allow the engine to adapt instantly to weather changes and load conditions. Now we reach one of the most overlooked sensors in the entire vehicle, the engine coolant temperature sensor. This sensor tells the computer whether the engine is cold, warming up, or fully hot. When it becomes contaminated or its connector corrodes, the computer may think the engine is cold all the time, enriching fuel mixture endlessly. Fuel economy drops. Fans behave strangely. Cold starts become difficult. Overheating risks increase. Cleaning here focuses on the connector, not the probe submerged in coolant. With the engine fully cold, disconnect the connector and inspect for corrosion, often visible as greenish residue. Use contact cleaner and a soft brush if necessary. Ensure the pins are clean, straight, and secure. Reconnect until you hear the click. A properly reading coolant sensor allows the engine to manage fueling, cooling fans, and warm-up behavior correctly. Now we move deeper into the engine senses, the NOx sensor. This sensor listens for abnormal combustion events and protects the engine by adjusting ignition timing. When contaminated with oil or debris, it may falsely detect NOx and unnecessarily retard timing. Power drops. Fuel consumption rises. The engine feels muted. Located directly on the engine block, this sensor must be cleaned carefully. Remove it with the engine cold. Wipe off heavy grime. Use contact cleaner on the sensor body and connector. Clean the harness as well. Never scratch or damage the sensing surface. Reinstall with correct torque, tight enough to transmit vibrations accurately. A properly functioning NOx sensor restores optimal ignition timing and engine response. Speed information is just as important. The vehicle speed sensor tells the computer how fast the car is moving. This affects idle control, transmission behavior, cruise control, and stability systems. When contaminated, strange symptoms appear, erratic speedometer readings, harsh transmission shifts, unstable idle during stops. Usually mounted on the transmission, this sensor often collects oil residue and metallic debris. Safely lift the vehicle. Remove the sensor carefully. Clean the gear with brake cleaner and inspect for damage. Clean the electrical portion separately with contact cleaner. Replace the O-ring if necessary. Reinstall gently. Accurate speed data restores smooth shifting and proper idle control. Now we reach the heartbeat of the engine, the crankshaft position sensor. This sensor tells the computer exactly where the pistons are and how fast they're moving. When dirty or poorly connected, the engine may stall randomly, refuse to start, or misfire unpredictably. Mounted near rotating components, this sensor is constantly exposed to oil, dust, and metallic particles. Remove it with the engine cold. Clean the tip gently with sensor cleaner. Clean the mounting surface and connector thoroughly. Allow everything to dry before reinstalling. A clean crank sensor restores reliable ignition timing and stable engine operation. Finally, the secret that fixes more problems than any single sensor: the wiring and connectors. Sensors don't fail nearly as often as their connectors do. Corrosion, moisture, dirt, and poor contact turn perfect signals into garbage. The computer can only act on what it receives. Every time you clean a sensor, clean its connector. Disconnect carefully. Inspect for corrosion or dirt. Use electrical contact cleaner only. Never use grease or oil inside the connector. Ensure pins are tight and aligned. A small amount of dielectric grease can be applied externally to prevent future moisture intrusion. This single habit eliminates countless intermittent faults, warning lights, and unnecessary part replacements. Now imagine walking into a workshop knowing exactly what you've already checked. Knowing which sensors are clean, which connectors are solid. Knowing the difference between a real failure and a dirty signal. Suddenly, the smoke and confusion disappear. You're no longer guessing. You're diagnosing. If this video saved you from replacing even one unnecessary part, it was worth it. If you want to keep learning the real techniques professionals use, without wasting money, make sure you stay tuned for the next episode. Because once you understand this level of car care, you stop reacting to problems and start preventing them. If you found this guide useful, hit like, share it with someone who's tired of mystery engine problems, subscribe for more insider car care content, and comment below telling me which country you're watching from.